Hi, my name is Cindy Hill, and today I'm excited to share with you a story about Bloomfield, Connecticut, a town just outside of Hartford. My final project will show how Bloomfield transformed from a quiet farming community into one of Connecticut's most diverse suburbs and what its journey can teach us. Here you can see a photo of the Bloomfield Village Green, located around the middle of town. Moreover, Bloomfield is a small town located just west of Hartford, Connecticut, with a population of approximately 22,000 people. Its original name was Wintonbury. The name Wintonbury itself tells an important story about the town's origins. It is derived from parts of three nearby towns. The names of them: Windsor, Farmington, and Simsbury. The town's character is mixed. Denser, more developed neighborhoods lie in the south and east, whilst the north and west feature open meadows, forested areas, and remaining farmland. Now, let's briefly get into the history. Bloomfield traces its origins to a land once inhabited by the Poconoke people and was first settled by colonists in the 1660s as a part of Windsor. A man by the name of Edward Messenger built the area's first house in 1661. Over the following years, the settlement expanded as more families established homes in the area. As the population grew, residents struggled with long winter journeys to Windsor for church, leading to the creation of the parish of Wintonbury in 1736. In 1835, after a successful petition by 107 residents, Bloomfield was officially incorporated as a town, with its first meeting held at the Congregational Church. The town grew again in 1843 with the annexation of the Scotland parish from Simsbury. Before the late 1960s, Bloomfield was a largely white agricultural town. The town's non-white population, such as the black population, was small until the late 1960s when minorities began moving from Hartford and the white population began moving out. Bloomfield's transformation from a white agricultural town into a diverse suburban community was shaped by the timing of its extensive zoning practice adoption and the racist/exclusionary practices from nearby suburbs such as West Hartford. In Bloomfield, town leaders initially hired a zoning expert and had zoning since 1929. But Bloomfield did not actively expand comprehensive zoning until the 1950s, which is significantly later than other places. To add on to an earlier point, in the late 1960s, real estate agents in other areas used blockbusting and racial steering to actively encourage white residents to leave and promoting Bloomfield among black families, leading to rapid demographic change as minorities relocated. Now let's define some of these terms. Blockbusting is when real estate agents deliberately introduce black families into previously all-white neighborhoods, then pressure white homeowners to sell their homes quickly, often at pretty low prices, by stoking fears that property values will drop. And then, racial steering is when real estate agents guide home buyers towards or away from certain neighborhoods based on their race, while encouraging white buyers to avoid integrated areas and pushing minority buyers towards designated neighborhoods. Continuing on, community reactions to Bloomfield's rapid demographic shift were mixed. While some residents moved away in the late 1960s and 70s, many actively supported the town's growing diversity. In the 1970s, Bloomfield earned national recognition as an All-America city for quote-unquote becoming an integrated town, that is, in welcoming various minority and ethnic groups. School board policies aimed for proportional enrollment, making Bloomfield schools models of voluntary integration. The results were quite dramatic. Bloomfield High School went from 13% black in 1967 to 37% by 1977, reaching 62% by 1984. Moreover, Community organizations and churches worked to promote inclusion, and while diversity eventually became a defining feature of Bloomfield's identity, the transition involved both pride and ongoing tensions among residents. Unfortunately, when there's good going on, there's always some bad going on. So let's get into the issues faced in Bloomfield, Connecticut. In 1974, a white Bloomfield resident reported that he received repeated calls from real estate agents urging him to sell his house at a lower rate because, quote unquote, with non-whites moving into the area, property values had supposedly declined. These fear-mongering tactics caused rapid, quote unquote, white flight across neighborhoods, and what scholars call school busting, where anxious white families fled not just integrated blocks, but entire school attendance zones. As mentioned previously, real estate agents also engaged in racial steering, warning white homebuyers away from Bloomfield while praising nearby all-white suburbs. John Keever, a white home buyer interested in Bloomfield, reported that salesmen made innuendos about the school system and warned that his daughter might be subject to attacks. The same agents spoke about Avon and West Hartford in glowing terms, but offered no positive information about Bloomfield. Moreover, in 1973, Bloomfield town leaders and fair housing advocates filed federal complaints. In 1974, the U.S. Justice Department brought official charges of racial steering against 7 major Hartford area real estate firms. Between 1967 and 1984, the number of black students at Bloomfield High gradually rose from 160 to 421, while white enrollment plummeted from 1,073 to just 267. Many white families either moved out entirely or sent their children to nearby schools. The result was street-level segregation. Despite Bloomfield's diverse overall demographics, entire neighborhoods remained either completely black or completely white. Bloomfield's response to housing discrimination set it apart from many other American suburbs. Community activists, which could be seen on the left-hand side, like Julia Ramos, Ben Dixon, and Boyd Hines, founded Education/Instruction in approximately 1970, specifically to combat institutional racism and housing discrimination within Hartford's real estate market. This organization mapped out the power structures of the largest and most influential real estate institutions, educating residents about how discrimination operated systematically within housing markets and helping to build awareness of unfair practices. Local government policies also played a crucial role. Bloomfield standardized for sale signs that you often see and discouraged racially motivated marketing tactics that perpetuated steering and blockbusting. These efforts by both community organizations and local leadership demonstrated that suburbs could actively choose inclusion over exclusion, counteracting the forces that had shaped most American suburban development. Now, let's jump to modern day and go over current demographics. Today, Bloomfield stands as one of Connecticut's most diverse towns and one of Connecticut's few majority black school districts. According to census data from 2023, approximately 54% of residents identify as Black or African American, 30% as white or Caucasian, and about 8% as Hispanic or Latino, with additional residents identifying as Asian or other races. And on the left side, you can see a little graph I made. Beyond racial diversity, Bloomfield's population also stands out in other ways. According to census data, the median age is 47.1 years, higher than the state and regional averages. Women make up 55% of residents. About 70% of households are owner-occupied, with an average household size of about 2.3 people. Nearly 40% of adults hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and 1/4 of residents are foreign-born. These numbers show that Bloomfield is diverse in age, gender, education, and global backgrounds. These statistics indicate that Bloomfield has maintained a range of income and educational levels rather than becoming either an affluent territory or an economically distressed community. Over time, Bloomfield became one of the most economically integrated towns in the Hartford region, although income gaps and pockets of poverty do persist. And these are just little graphs I made going over the general population by age and the population by household types. My research methods included a lot of reading through a book called On the Line by author Jack Doherty, because he seems very, very interested in this topic and he has the most writing about it. And I also checked historical based websites like the Wintonberry Historical Society and ConnecticutHistory.org, along with checking census data and looking through news broadcasts and other things. In conclusion, Bloomfield, Connecticut demonstrates that American suburbs can evolve beyond exclusionary patterns. The town's transformation from overwhelmingly white to majority black and economically diverse reflects migration, policy choices, community activism, and economic opportunity. When communities confront inequality, welcome diversity, and work towards fair housing and school policies, suburbs can grow stronger and more inclusive. Whilst income gaps and poverty still persist, Bloomfield offers a hopeful example, a suburb defined by diversity, equity, and commitment to building communities where all people can thrive.